Hello, you're welcome to the Fixers Show. Hello, you're welcome to the Fixers Show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to today's episode of the Fixers Show. My name is Deborah Dodoche, aka The Fixer, and I'm streaming live from the beautiful city of Accra, Ghana. Let me know where you're watching me from. You could type your location in the comment section. If you're going to be watching this as a live, tag hashtag live. If you're going to be watching this as a replay, tag hashtag replay. Why? So that the algorithm is going to show the video to many more people. I know a lot of people are asking me, what is the Fixer Show about? Simply put, the Fixer Show is a platform. It's an educative and informative platform where we discuss issues that border on mental health and learning disabilities. That's what we do. So if there is an issue, we bring it to the fore, we discuss it with my co-fixers. I'm not a therapist. I'll probably be a therapist in the future, but for now, I don't analyze, I don't diagnose, I don't do any of that. I just bring the information out there for people to know and understand that this is what is happening. So if you're just joining us, please share the video, tag somebody to join today's session. And today's session is going to be a very important session because I'm having a therapist all the way from the beautiful city of Nigeria. Her name is Abigail. I hope I'll get the other name right. Abigail Olasehinde. She is a therapist with the Belwet clinic in Nigeria, and today she'll be joining me for today's session. Today we are talking about toxicity in private relationships or private intimate relationships. That's what we are talking about today. So just hang in there. I'm going to bring her in so we could start the discussion. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fixers Show. And today on the Fixers Show, we are having Abigail Olasehinde. She said I had her name right. So bravo to me. And I'll let her introduce herself. So Abigail, you're welcome to the Fixers Show.
All right, thank you, madam. My name is Abigail Olasehinde. I graduated from medical physiology as a first degree. And during my undergraduate studies, I had a passion for psychology and mental health. I could remember some of my friends, when they have strong psychological issues, they come to meet me and they'll be like, Abigail, do you know I've been trying to solve this for months?
Yeah.
And within 30 minutes, you are unraveling everything as if you are the cause of it.
Yeah.
Why not consider psychology after your first degree? I put that to mind. And then after my first degree, I went into psychology.
Okay.
It has not been easy though, because I could remember my supervisor at some point was like, Abigail, practicing mental health is different from being a lecturer in psychology.
Okay.
And that is why we have a lot of lecturers compared to those practices. And I said, why? I said, because if you are not careful, at some point, the therapist will begin to need therapy.
I like that, when the therapist needs therapy.
And then it begins to affect your relationship with your family members. In fact, it creeps into your time. But you said, Abigail, I can see the passion you have. I can see this is your purpose and your calling. I wish you well.
Wow. So what do you do now? I know you have a clinic called is it the Belwet Clinic?
Yes, Belwet Mind Clinic. And the goal of Belwet Mind Clinic is to ensure that it gets to a stage in Africa, Nigeria, of which Nigeria, Africa at large, possibly the whole world as time goes on, in which an individual can boldly work to a psychologist, to a clinic, a mind clinic, without the fear of being stigmatized.
Being stigmatized, I know, right? That's one of the things I've always spoke about on the Fixers Show, the issue of stigmatization, because I said I cannot see a psychologist or see a therapist if I don't believe that I have a problem. And because people don't believe that they have a problem, they don't think they need to see a psychologist. I was watching a movie called Imade. It's a movie about domestic abuse. Her husband was beating her and she was being domestically abused. Her sister brought a therapist and said, this therapists are brought for you is going to help you. She looked at her, looked at the therapist, looked at her sister, and asked her sister that did I tell you that I need help? That's what she asked her sister. Did I tell you that I needed help? The sister says, no, you need help. She says, no, I'm the one that would tell you that I need help. You will not come into my house and bring a therapist and tell me that I need help. But anyway, you see, you take your bag, your therapist, take your bag and leave my house. So when you talk about the issue of stigmatization, I completely agree. Because if you watch my story, when I talked about my battle with postpartum depression, one, I didn't know I had postpartum depression, so I couldn't go to a hospital to go consult or to go see a therapist because I could not actually identify that it was postpartum, right? So finally, I got out of postpartum based on a discussion I had with my mom that served as my therapist, but not as a professional, me walking into a hospital and telling somebody that, oh, I'm having this issue, or I'm fighting with anger, I'm fighting with rage, I'm battling with insomnia and all those things. I never did any of that. So we have a lot of people in that space that don't know that they actually have a problem. So going to Belwet Mind Clinic, to them, they don't see any reason why they should go and see Abigail. I don't have a problem. Is it not when I'm sick, then I can go and see Abigail, but I'm not sick. But people don't understand mental health is not a sickness per se, but it can lead to sicknesses. You understand? Because when you have the anxiety, you have the stress, it could culminate into high blood pressure, into diabetes, into stroke. So people, you want to curb it from the stage of anxiety and depression before it escalates into what it would lead to something, kidney failure and all that. Okay, so like I said, Abigail, we've been talking toxicity or toxic people or negative people. One of my girls said, Mommy, Valentine is coming now. You should stop talking about these toxic people, talk about love. So today is going to be my final final episode on toxic people. So then from there, I'll probably do some relationship related matters, because I was thinking about next month we could start with personality disorders. We could talk about that in different form. So we're talking toxicity, and today we are dealing with toxic people, or dealing with toxic people in an intimate partner relationship. You would know that if people, like as a therapist, if somebody is dealing with toxic people, I'm sure probably one of the things, if not the only thing, you will tell the person is to probably stay away from the toxic person, negative energy. You tell the person, sanitize your environment and do. But my question now is, what if this toxic person is your husband, your wife, your person that you have a relationship with? What are you going to do?
All right. Thank you, Ma, for that question. And that's a very that's a timely question.
Okay.
Because, like you said, a lot of people will just say, "Stay away, leave." Now, I think stay away and leaving should not be the first thing. It should not be the first thing. And I want to discuss some of those things. I wrote out about 10 steps on how to manage, deal with, and cope with toxic people in an intimate relationship.
Wow.
Now, I want us to know something, that every situation is unique.
Okay.
And one formula does not work for every situation.
Okay.
So, out of these 10 tips, it's possible it's just one formula that might work for someone, of which the 10 formulas might
work. Okay.
Work for another person. But at least an average of these 10 formulas must work for an individual. And now, what's the first step? The first step is, already jotted it. The first step is, have an escape plan in mind.
Okay.
Because in this part of the world, it's very unfortunate in which when you talk with family members that don't want you to leave, then there's a problem.
Okay.
When you talk with friends that sees you as the bad person, then there is a problem. So
Okay.
it's up to you to have an escape plan. What
Mm-hmm.
can that escape plan be?
Yeah.
It could be you are living in a bungalow, there is an hotel, there is a suite not far from you,
Mm,
of which when the crisis becomes tense,
mm,
you know that my first aid is to go to that hotel,
mm, mm-hmm.
is to go to that suite.
Mm.
Make it oblivion to your partner. That's
Okay.
the first step.
Okay.
Now the second step is,
Okay, no, wait.
if it
Let me ask for in relation to the step that you just talked about, the escape plan. Because to me, I can look at the escape plan in both ways. Meaning escape, meaning I'm running, 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 and not coming back, or running and going there, then I hide for a bit and come back. But the question is, when you come back, what next? Because if the person is toxic, it's going to be like a cyclical thing. It's going to be a repeated cycle that I would have the plan. I go because there's some women probably that do that, or some men that do that. Like men, they'll close from their workplace. They have toxic wives in the house, and they will go and drink, but they will still come back to the house and still meet that thing. They will still quarrel. They will still fight. They will still go. They will still come. Doesn't it get a little bit too much for somebody to take? I'm just saying.
though it can get too much for somebody to take, but we all have our breaking point.
Okay.
So during this process, it can be said the person has not gotten to her breaking point. The
Okay.
person has not gotten to his breaking point because toxicity in the relationship is not gender based. It's not
Okay.
gender biased.
Yes.
The bitter truth about it is when I went into research, I noticed more men are being abused emotionally in
Than
relationship
women.
than women.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Fact.
just unfortunate that they can't speak, they can't
Why?
cry for help
Why can they
because
not cry for help?
they'll be seen as a weakling.
Come on, give me a break. I
What
dey die. I dey die, Abigail. Call Tom weekly. What's it concern weekly? Concern my life.
there's stigmatization and it. Imagine now,
Hmm.
I've had men that during therapy, they get to that point, they are trying to be a man, and I'll just tell them, I'll be like, can you shed some tears? I'm not going to judge you.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's all they need.
Hmm.
And then you see them break down.
I
I've
know
had
now.
I've had I've had a consultant that broke down. I was weeping, like
Weeping. Ah,
weeping. And I had to give tissue and everything was wiped with a bottle of water.
when.
And most of them is linked to relationship.
Hmm.
But when they are not certified, when they are not they are not certain that they won't be judged, they
Mm-hmm.
won't speak.
Yeah, I know now.
And now imagine over the radio, especially in Nigeria, when the Yoruba radio channel
Hmm.
wants to speak on a man crying for help, they make it
Make
look
it look
like the
like
man has made a mistake.
I know, right? No, but I'm going to say this. Not. I'm not going to. I'm not. I'm saying this with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying it. I don't know. I don't want my Nigerian followers or family to think. But one of the things I've noticed that it's a cultural thing in Nigeria for the men that if you decide to do that, like you say, you are look like a weakling, you are look like so we have a lot of men, like you said, being abused emotionally. Some men are even abused them physically. Some women actually slap, kick, and do all of those kind of things. But one of the things, Abigail, I'm going to tell you is I advocate so much on this show and out of the show about men speaking, because I don't come out as a therapist that is doing professional work, but I do a lot of work behind the scenes. I talk to a lot of men and I encourage men to talk. But I noticed also that we need to get men to form groups, partnerships, relationship with other men so that they can be, even if you cannot go talk to a woman, you can have male therapists that they can go, or friends that can have, I'm big on men speaking because I don't like the fact that we are losing the few the few men that we have. if they are that, look at the last year we talked about DJ Twitch. He died, he killed himself. We may not have known what happened, but that's one man that died last year. Yes, so I understand that you would have issues with the fact that men will not talk about the fact that they are being abused. But so okay, let's digress a little. If you were a man were to come to you, how would you advise him that he should talk?
So I've had series of men that came to me for therapy regarding to relationship. And what I did is that's why to every of my therapy, clinical assessment comes first.
Okay.
Now, during the clinical assessment, I get to know that individual, that client, has one or two psychological disorders that should be worked on.
Okay. Okay.
And now when we begin work, it's more or less like I'm not just chopping the leaf. I'm starting from the roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the time we start from the roots, there's a different type of healing the man experiences.
Please.
So by the time we get to that emotional part, that relationship part, it gets easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not that trying to make a bulldozer lift a building when it can be pulling it gradually, pulling it down gradually.
That's good.
So when we now get after the psychological disorders has been arranged, most times I remember I had one, and that one was like, therapist, this I've been depressed for over 2 weeks. This I was like, calm down, relax. I said, what makes me different? What makes me a professional is that clinical assessment comes first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then during the clinical assessment, he felt so relaxed.
Yeah. Wow.
Extremely relaxed, and there are topics we were discussing, and he said he has been wanting to discuss this topic with somebody.
Well,
and he felt so relaxed when I brought up this topic. More or less like, wow. Finally.
I've gotten somebody that understands, like, gets it. It's like I've got somebody that gets it.
Exactly. So they think that this individual, 1 hour was now too small. And it was like, I'm ready to, time is money, therapist, I'm ready to pay because it's 15,000 naira per hour. I'm ready to pay an extra hour.
Wow.
There are times when the individual will fix sessions aside from the days of his session.
Okay.
So when we go to that part of relationship, emotion, I now begin to draw out a lot of things. When the individual spoke about the spouse, I said, it's just because you are not the lady. Because from what you've said, I've drawn out some of the childhood history that made that lady to be behaving the way she's behaving. And then he was like, wow.
Okay, now let me ask. Okay, that thing or whatever, the childhood trauma or everything she's going to is making her to behave the way she's behaving. She's behaving toxic, she's behaving negative and all that. How do I want to consign the man where she take marry? So the man will not
consign. Now I can't give example. Ma assume say we have Rachel and we have David. Why Rachel was before she was conceived, let's say her parents are abusive.
Okay.
She had abusive parents. Now, according to physiology, during the fetal life, that's the third fetal stage, the second to third fetal stage, development of the brain, development of the neurons. Now, let's assume during those weeks, the parents went into physical violence.
Okay.
And they were exchanging words.
By
the time the mother and the father exchanging words, the limbic system, which is the seat of emotion, is activated. And as it is activated, the amygdala begins, there's a movement, a release of several neurotransmitters.
Okay.
And some of those neurotransmitters, we have the non-epinephrine, the epinephrine, the serotonin, the dopamine. It's been seen that when an individual is in a sad mood, angry mood, the serotonin level drops.
Okay.
So the body vibrates in anger, in restlessness, in sadness. The mama will carry the pikin. Now wait till they enter the mama, now they move through to the pikin. So there's a way this God that created everything.
I'm telling you.
And science. There's a way this neurotransmitter has an effect on the fetal life.
Wow.
So those periods in which development of that's why what do we call it? Epilepsy. You want to categorize it into psychology. We will say during that stage, maybe the parents will trace it down where the parents are abusive.
Okay.
If the parents were abusive, then we'll say it's possible during that stage. Negative neurotransmitters were being released.
Yes. Probably for even throughout the pregnancy.
And then you see some children, even from childhood, they are hostile.
Yes, very hostile. Very.
They find it difficult to smile, to laugh. If the mother, it may not be toxicity, but if the mother is not someone that smiles, that laughs, so those hormones that should be released, excited hormones, are not there. So that's why you just see some fetal life. They are not moving, they are not excited. Papa, mama know they play. Nothing like, hey, baby, kick. Don't do anything like that for the womb. Papa mind your own business, mama mind their own business. Now, that is by the way. Now, a lady in which passed through that. One. Secondly, lady was born, birth, and can see the parents being toxic.
Yes, being toxic, yeah.
Or the parents are separated. So there is this love, just like a cushioning effect. There is this love that prevents friction when a child is born into a home that both parents love themselves. So if they love each other, there is this happiness, like
yes.
Daddy and mommy are smiling. The child kicks and starts
smiling. That means the child emulates. That means the child emulates what the child is seeing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now there's another part that has to do with this in psychology. I don't want to diversify. and now the third is if the girl child or the male child faces a trauma of molestation.
Okay.
Now, trauma of molestation, the parents, maybe the parents go to know about it, but there are some parents, African parents, Nigerian parents, will be like, let us don't wash our linen outside.
Dirty linen in public, yes. Let us solve it. Family matter. What still if it involves a family member?
Exactly.
They'll say, don't let's break it out.
It leads to trauma in the girl child.
It's true.
She looks at it like nobody is to be trusted. She has a special hate for the male gender.
It's true.
And she believes she needs to be violent, so she will not be oppressed.
Oppressed, yeah, that's true.
She sees it as if I'm too gentle, if I'm a weakling, I'll be taken for a ride.
Yeah.
So that's why you see them like, no, feminism. No, I need to be rigid. I'm not soft. And all this gradually, it's now reform her mental thinking. She gets married, and even if the man is a very gentle, easy going, she will see it as a bait. The bait. He wants to use it to manipulate me so I can be soft.
So the man cannot be genuinely nice. There is something.
So that he can oppress me. No,
he can oppress me. I will not fall for it.
I'm 2 steps ahead. He thinks he's smart. I'm smarter.
Wow! You are just joining us. You're welcome to the Fixer Show. Today I'm having my own therapist with me. Her name is Abigail Olasehinde. She is the lead therapist at the Belwet Mind Clinic in Nigeria. And I'm learning some very, very, not that I'm learning, there are things I know, but coming from a therapist, it kind of makes a lot of sense, because I'm following a movie called Grind. I've forgotten a lady who shot it. It's a series. And it looks like the lady, is it Tarella? She was abused as a child. So she's been struggling to take care of her mom, her younger sister, and all that. But now she has this friend who works in a strip club. And the friend says that, okay, I'm traveling to Dubai. I want you to take my spot. The lady says, I don't want to come and work in a strip club where men will come and be robbing my body. The woman said, but the robbing your body is where the money is now. She said, no, even if she's coming to work in a strip club, nobody will touch her. She won't give lap dances. So she went to the how do they call it? To the bar. The friend went, she was really good. I mean, like very, very good. Everybody wanted a lap dance. But Tarela will not give a lap dance. So now the manager comes and says, people are asking for lap dance. Why are you not giving lap dance? She said she's not giving lap dance. She had arranged with her friend that she's not giving lap dance. Then the guy said, it is not your friend that is the owner of this strip club. Oh. It is me. And if I say you will give lap dance, you will give lap. She says, lie. She will not give lap dance. And I think that they're not giving the lap dance, and the fact that these old men are going to be touching, because the lap dance, you're actually dancing on the person. So it would trigger. So she refused so much that the people in the strip club were asking, but why are you not doing it? Why are you not doing it? You know, I'm just tying it with what you said about a person has gone through that. I'm not sure she even told her mom about it. That means she has carried that particular weight throughout until it is playing out now, even when she has a chance, because he said if you do lap dance you make more money, because dancing on the pole is the money that the people would spray at you. So it could be like 20,000, it could be like 30,000, 40,000. If you're really good, you could get 50,000, 60,000 naira. But if somebody were to point at you and say, come and dance for me, you could live with 100,000, you could live with 200,000, depending on the benevolence of whoever you're giving the lap dance to. But that did not compare to whatever the trauma she was going to. She was willing to let go of that money that she was going to receive, just to preserve the sanctity of that experience. That I think that if she were to sit on somebody, that particular incident was going to flash back, and she could mess up the entire process.
It's not even the sitting on the person; it's the crawling effect.
Okay.
I've had a cleansing which. Why after the clinical assessment, while I was assessed, after she submitted the form and I was assessing, and her dislike is she hates people touching her.
Okay.
That if you want to talk to me, don't touch me. If you touch me, I get aggressive at you. And then I was like, something happened somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when I traced it to childhood history, I noticed she has escaped several molestations.
Okay.
She had trusted boyfriends and they molested her.
Okay. Wow.
So that crawling effect, that touching brings back memories.
So I'm sure that Tarila's case is the same thing. The crawling, because I remember within the series, she was sleeping and there's this man walking. She was a little girl. The man is walking towards her, like holding her, and she's fighting. Then she woke up from the dream and she was like panting and all that. So the crawling could be a reason why she doesn't want to give the lap dancing, because the lap dancing, they have to touch you.
Exactly.
Yes, they have to touch you. You can't say that, no, you will not touch me. Because that is part it's part of the cocoa.
And without therapy, if she continue like that and she eventually gets married, the other room, the bedroom activities with her husband will be questionable.
So she has a boyfriend though. But what happened is at the beginning of the series, she was actually being intimate with the guy, but she just
Okay.
laid there. Oh. She just laid there.
Yes.
And the guy was struggling. Then when she finished that, she just
You don't do what you want to finish. I had a client like that.
so
I had a client like that. It was like the wife would be like, he would be like, he said for over a year now, his wife has not been giving him sex. They are done with childbearing. He said all through childbearing is just like, oh yeah, come on, do. But this one, but now she'll be like, what they are in their 60s. What again do you
what
want?
do you want
Do
to
you want to give birth to another child? So if maybe he's lucky enough after sexual, she'll just lay there like a wood. His word. He said she'll just lay there like a wood. And after sexual, she'll be like, you don't do finish. You don't get it you want.
I remember at the point the guy Tarila, when she left, she started her strip club business. So the guy was not seeing her. So one day she had come back from the strip club business and the guy called her and said he had something urgent to tell her. I said, but the urgent thing that you want to tell me, I'm tired, oh, please, you can tell me on the phone. The guy said, no, this one, there is no phone matter. We have to meet. Then she said, okay, she's coming. When she went there, after they were intimate, then now she was asking the guy, so what is the thing that you said you wanted to tell me? He said, so that is why you called me all the way for this thing. You didn't have anything important. If you saw the way she was angry, because there was this pent up anger in her that she was working in a bar, and the woman was owing her. The woman actually had the money. She will actually see the woman hold the money, but the woman will tell them that she doesn't have money. She will pay them. One day she went to the bar and saw the woman. She told the woman that, madam, which time you go pay? I will pay your salary. The woman said, now wait, shebi I don't tell you I go pay you salary. I don't get the money before the woman could say Jack 600. She snatched them. She snatched what was in the woman's hand. The money scattered everywhere. She picked the one that she had when the woman was talking. She said, don't make I change hand for you. Hey, the way she came out, the woman was like, The woman looked around. She was wondering the one that the girl was talking to. The girl just was like, she has kept it. It got to a point, she just did boom. And she told when her friend came from the strip club, I will tell her about coming to work the strip club. She said, hey, before I forget, so I'm not work again for that place. After that experience, you can't go back. And go and tell your madam that you are going to wait. They were only rent like 3 years. Even NEPA bill for 1,200 naira, they cannot pay. Then the guy will come to them and say, madam, if you had given me your daughter to marry, by now you are my in-law. Then immediately the way the lady will start talking then, he said, this your girl, she get bad mouth. She was always angry, you understand? There was this anger, and also she had a younger sister too who was not going to school. So like their mother was doing this church thing. They will give money for school. The mother will go and sew sit in church. They will give money for NEPA. They don't have like the mother will go and sew the NEPA bill in church. So the woman, I think the part of it why she was working so hard was that she, at the age of her sister, that was probably when she was molested. So she's doing everything, because when the lady asked her that, when the lady asked her that, so why would you consider, or what do you want? She said, one, I want to move my mama and my sister from this place. Because she knew very well that environment, before long, if nothing is done, the younger sister would definitely go through what she went through. That was one of the things I think was her fear. So it still boils back to toxicity in an intimate partner relationship, but this just gives us a base to understand that yes, there may be reasons that a person can be toxic. I understand, but it's toxicity if you ain't like me personally, I can't stand toxic people. I don't know how people do it, but even if it's my husband who is toxic, of which he's not, that's what I thank God for. I don't know how I'll be able to cope, because I know even in biology, they talk about when you have toxins in your system, you need to detox. So just imagine a person living with a toxic person. Not be the person go do detox.
Last, both of them will come to us to toxic person.
So
It
how
still
you
dey transfer.
expect
As
say,
well as
okay, you therapist now you dey tell the person say, make you no comot, make you no comot, make you stay there, come dey do talks. Because I like in the last episode I said, I don't know if it's the last episode or last two episodes, I said toxic people perpetrate toxicity,
exactly.
meaning that the person can leave that relationship that is toxic, moves to another relationship, and that person then becomes toxic.
Mm.
That's possible, right?
It's very possible.
Because of the toxicity the person witnessed in this particular relationship with this person.
Exactly.
So the person will think that this behavior is acceptable behavior. So when he moves to a fresh relationship, it begins to behave like the person that he or she left, thinking that that's
Not
also
even,
acceptable behavior.
not even. There are some that we actually see that there is like a coin with two sides.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that see it that way, and there are others in which they know it is not acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
but that good part of them
Mm.
has been crushed.
It's true.
So they see it like that man was able to do what he did because I was too gentle.
So okay.
So when they enter a new relationship, they
Mm.
try to be edgy.
Okay.
And if that new partner does not have enough understanding of who she is or who he is, they will always be having a misunderstanding. And the more the misunderstanding, the more the pain she's building in.
Up. Okay.
And then she begins to say some words. I thought you are different. You're not even different from my
ex. Mm-hmm.
You're not different from my ex.
Mm.
I thought you are different.
These are the same things you are doing are the things my ex was doing that I left him.
And then the new partner will be like, and how dare you compare me to your ex?
Your ex. Okay, if your ex was like that, why didn't you stay there?
If you were nice, if you were, wasn't it now becomes very terrible if it's the ex that sent this one package. If your attitude is nice, would your ex have sent you package? It's the ex. And then fire engulfs the mountain.
Wow. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, this is the Fixer Show. Today we are dealing with toxicity in intimate partner relationship. This is just part one of it. I know very well that's me. This one there. I don't want to make we release all the cocoa. So we are going to do a part 2, part 3, part 4. So thank you so much, Abigail, for joining me. And Abigail, you can follow her on YouTube, the Belwet Mind Clinic. And I don't know if you do online therapy. Do you do online therapy?
90% of my therapy are online.
Okay, so she does online therapy. So if you think you have a challenge, you're in a toxic relationship, and a narcissistic relationship, whatever the problem, mental health, stress, name it, that is her field. She can handle all of that. Just go to Belwet Mind Clinic on YouTube. She has videos that she has already posted. Go there.
Belwet Mind YouTube on Instagram. You see
on Instagram. She's also on Facebook. I met her actually. I saw her actually on Facebook. Then I traced her because anything mental health, I'm very interested. So I traced her. I said, no, I need her on the Fixer Show because the things she's saying resonates with the things that I'm saying. I'm not a professional. I said, no, I need her professional take on all this because I would say it from a point of information, from a point of people to know, but I can't treat, I can't diagnose, I can't help that way. I help in a little way that I can, but you can, like you talk about the clinical aspect that you do, then basically that's it. So thank you so much for Abigail. Thank you so much for joining today's episode of the Fixer Show. So until I come your way next time, it is bye-bye from Accra, Ghana.